Welcome back for session 3. And of course, Blake is gone, and now we have Susan Holecheck. Now, you remember Susan from so many different things. Susan's involved in a lot in our community, but she's also involved with transportation, VetTrans, and we're also looking at other transportation. So I think what we're going to do for probably the first session is start off with VetTrans, and then we're going to pepper Susan with all the questions about VetTrans, let her explain where we are, what's going on, and how well it's going. And then we can move into regular transportation and what we're doing. And whatever we need for the last session, we can go ahead and follow that up. We always run out of time anyway. And Susan, I'm just so glad you're here.
Oh, thank you so much. I have to start off by making an apology. Albert wanted to be here.
Oh, okay.
And it just invariably seems like it just doesn't connect sometimes with his crazy calendar. So.
Yes, in fact, he told me that he was going to be in Las Vegas during the time we're doing this show, and it's kind of hard to be in both places at one time.
I know, and I don't know how he keeps up with it anyway. He's always traveling back and forth, and that's one thing I have to tell you I dread is kind of going to Vegas, you know, particularly with the construction going on.
Oh, gee. Hey, we'll get there, and pretty soon we'll be looking back. All the construction will be over, and we'll say, well, hey, what's the problem?
Well, yeah, I think that once the roads are done, both internally here in our town and they're done coming from Las Vegas, I think it is a huge economic boon.
Oh, absolutely.
For Pahrump, I really do. So, yeah, I think that's exciting. And it all has to do with transportation, which I have to tell you a little story, if I may. In one time when I was wearing a different hat, NDOT invited people to come to a meeting to decide about how we wanted to decorate the roadway coming here. And the last time I was in Vegas, I began to see some of the ironwork statues and everything. So they really did follow through with some of the suggestions that those of us who showed up made. And I think it's going to help because the road is somewhat boring. And I think when we have some artwork going on, it kind of keeps people's attention.
It does.
So,
it does.
Yeah, so I had to share that little story that.
Okay, I'm gonna share one with you too.
Okay.
Because you talked about all the construction. I wasn't really stationed on Okinawa, but I spent a lot of time on Okinawa. And a saying on Okinawa is the shortest distance between two points is under construction. Because they were always building something on Okinawa. So it was always a detour here, a detour there. So the shortest distance between 2 points is under construction.
Right, and the good part is if construction is going on, that's a good thing.
That's a good thing,
that
absolutely.
means everything's kind of moving in the right direction. So, which is what's happening with VetTrans.
VetTrans, tell us all about VetTrans.
Well, you know,
First, what is it? What is VetTrans for those in the audience that don't know?
Right, and I'm really glad that Dr. Waters is saying that because invariably we are still finding people who go, I didn't know anything about that.
Yes.
So VetTrans, with the advent of our getting such an experienced individual like Albert Bass, who is our Nye County Mobility Manager, we've really been able to focus on equipment needs. That's where we started. And thanks to Albert, we were able to get 4 handicap-equipped buses.
Yes.
We got them from the state of Utah. We basically paid like $2.50 a piece for them. Each of the buses has over $200,000 in equipment, from seat belts to lifts to everything else. And so when we got the 4 buses, one of the buses we dedicated to our veterans population, which I was so glad to. I know that you have so many guests on your show, and we talk about veterans' needs. It is, when you think about it, and of course this was the last number I had, but so Nye County having 8,000 veterans, but Pahrump alone has 6,000. That's just huge.
Yep.
And Blake talked about the needs, and those needs are going to grow. And it's not just our veterans that the older population. It's not just veterans that are men. Now veterans is just It's a huge gamut. And all of those needs are increasing all the time. So being able to dedicate a bus that will take a veteran and anyone accompanying them, whether it's a spouse or a caregiver or whatever, they can ride to any medical or pharmaceutical appointment free.
Okay.
Absolutely free. And I know people find that really hard to believe when we say that word free, but it is free. And I've said this before, there is flexibility with this grant that we received, this $50,000 grant, so that if you, for instance, were to say, well, I need to go to CVS, and we take you there, but you nip over to Albertsons for grocery shopping or whatever, it's fine because we're going to log it as a pharmaceutical ride.
Okay.
So there is flexibility there. And I have to tell you that we're just so excited because October, this is going back a couple months, October was our best month. And we were really, and this is going to sound odd, we had like 19 rides. Now, to everyone, they're going to go, well, that doesn't sound like very much. But when you're a startup program, that's a lot.
It's just starting. It's starting, and it's improving each month.
We wanted to get to 100, 25 on this program. We wanted to get to 25 by the end of the year, and I think we're easily going to make it. And
that sounds great.
We've actually been able to use the buses. I think we used the buses to take them to the wall. Remember when the wall was here?
Yes, we used.
And so there are some other extenuating circumstances that come up where we're able to offer veteran rides as well. I think we offered rides to the RAM clinic for our veterans.
We did that, and when you said the wall, for those that don't know, talking about the Vietnam Memorial Wall when it was here. Yes.
Right. And so there are other opportunities for affording rides to our veterans. And I just see this program as growing and growing and growing. I mean, ideally, it would be great to even take veterans into Las Vegas. One of the, and you might know this better than I, but DAV also does so much for our veterans. And so sometimes people may say, well, why would I ride veterans when I could ride DAV? DAV has some, and I think they're fairly new regulations. So if you use oxygen, for instance, you're not going to be able to ride on DAV.
That's
right?
correct.
You can on ours. I'm not sure if DAV allows service animals, but I know that we do. So there are times where, and I believe DAV, I hope I say this correctly, they're only able to take you to your DAV appointments.
That's correct. To a VA clinic.
Correct. And so our ability is to take you to any doctor's appointment or any pharmaceutical appointment or any medical. I should even broaden that out. You could say, I need to go to Walmart to get my eyes checked.
Yes.
Right? So there's really a need for both of those programs. We don't ever want people to think that we're competing with one another or that somehow by riding in veterans you're going to disturb the ability for us to have DAV, if that makes any sense. So they actually work very well with each other. And thanks to DAV and the people that work with DAV, they've actually been the ones who have referred a lot of people for rides to us.
And it's there. Now, one thing you haven't covered, what is the responsibility of the veteran in getting that ride? What do they have to do? So we started out with only being able to offer rides 3 days a week. Now we're able to offer rides 5 days a week. 5 days a week. And so what we ask of you is to please give us a minimum of 24 hours notice. Okay. You know, obviously, if you could give us a couple of days, that would be great, but sometimes we ourselves never know our schedule is going to change. So we do ask for 24 hours notice. The number is on your screen. We've got wonderful people. We've got a great driver. We've got a wonderful dispatcher. So if you will just call, the first time you call, you're going to give a lot of information. And I don't want you to think it's being intrusive. It's just that we want to keep that. So the next time you call, we already have that information in our bank, as it were. So yeah, it's just an easy process to call and say, look, I need to go here on this date and I need to be there by this time. We're going to go to your door.
We're going to pick you up
At their house.
at the house,
Oh, great.
right
Okay.
at the house. We're going to take you to where your appointment is, and we're going to make sure that you get home safely.
Okay. Now, when they finish their appointment, do they call you again to go back?
No, sometimes we may be taking someone else, but we'll know what time you need to come back.
Okay.
We'll check at the facility. A lot of times, if they're not busy, I believe they actually wait.
Okay.
So it's not like the veteran has to wait.
So this is VetTrans, Veteran Transportation, and it enhances DAV's opportunity to help veterans. So VetTrans is, again, they're not competing.
Right.
This is something that really helps, and it helps veterans. I think it's a fantastic program.
I think it'd be a fabulous goal. I talked about Las Vegas a minute ago, but even to be able to go to Amargosa or Beatty, right? I mean, I know there are veterans that are
Now, right
out
now
in
it's
Amargosa.
Pahrump only.
It's Pahrump only right
Okay.
now. But I have to laud and compliment Albert because he is just constantly looking for grants that will be able to keep this program going.
Okay.
So next year we're actually hoping to even double that grant that we got.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. When we have things on the show and we're talking about helping veterans, and you know that's why I'm here, we want to do a lot of things and talk about all the things available within Nye County and Pahrump, but at the same time, anything that's going to help veterans, we're going to have on the program. And VetTrans is definitely going to help veterans. Also, like Susan said, whether it's a spouse or caregiver that's traveling with the veteran, they can also ride. And if you decide, like she said, going to CVS and you want to go to Walmart and do some shopping, not a problem at all. Or if you're at Albertsons and you want to shop while you're there, no problem.
Tell you the truth, you could probably nip over and have a sandwich at Subway. Again, we're gonna log it as a pharmaceutical,
Yes.
say if you're at
Yes.
CVS, so we're not gonna hold you to that only. So,
And is there a limit on how many bags they can take?
I believe that's a good question. I believe there is, and I thought Albert told me it's 3. But boy, if you can carry 3 and jostle them around, I think I'd probably be able to do 2.
You're not going to complain. Again, this is winding us down for session 3, and we'll be back for session 4 in just a couple seconds. So stay with us. Thank you.